Whitmire wants to speed up the timeline for replacing about 100,000 broken remote read sensors on water meters. We know those sensors are really at the core, the heart of the problem that's causing the inaccurate bills. So this morning we invited two Houston City Council members to talk about this plan and these details we've just learned. Dr. Carolyn Evans-Shabazz of District D and Letitia Plummer at-large position 4 council members. Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Amy. Thank you for having us virtually.
Yeah, you both. I wanted to invite you both because you both were very vocal and helpful, sort of giving your own ideas after hearing so much from your own constituents dealing with these water bill issues of ideas that you had that might start to resolve some of them. And Letitia, if we could start with you, because I noticed in the mayor's plan, one of the ideas was something that you said last year, like, hey, why can't people talk to a water customer service representative in person? Why do you think that's so important?
Yeah, this is really exciting. It was good to hear that. I think that, in this day and time, we're so accustomed to dealing with someone virtually and not really having that one-on-one conversation with people in the city of Houston are struggling and don't believe that we're doing what's right for them. It's really important for them to see someone in front of them face to face to work through the issues. So hearing that there's going to be some in-person face to face to kind of navigate our constituents through these large water bills is really good news. And I'm excited to know how we're going to roll that out. My recommendation was, utilizing the multi-service centers, being actually in the communities that people are, and that will really assist seniors more than anything to get to where they go, to get, to be in a place within their community. So it's exciting to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a number of years ago, even before the pandemic, that they closed that water customer service office to the public over on Leland, I believe. We always show it in our stories, but the door's been locked forever. Dr.
Right,
Evans,
I think they're going to reopen that, hopefully reopen that location, but also have locations within neighborhoods. And that's how we're going to work directly with Councilmember Shabazz and all the other district members to really assist them and assist them in terms of working with their constituents. And they're going to be able to choose where they want that to be within their districts because they know their district's the best. Yeah,
exactly. Because if you're a senior citizen and it's frustrating that you can't get anybody on the phone, you'd hate to have one location to drive downtown. If there was a place in your neighborhood where you could go, that would be fantastic. So that's good news. Dr. Evans-Shabazz, I mean, we don't know all of the details, but listening to the plan, what stands out to you as sort of the biggest thing that you think will help, if anything?
Well, I'm very encouraged by the plan. Of course, it was shared with us on yesterday. Certainly that piece where the constituents can meet in person is really, really important because we all know the challenges of trying to reach someone on the phone, and then sometimes you get them on the phone and then the phone disconnects. Yeah. And this is so challenging and has been very challenging. So I'm glad to know that there will be opportunities. Of course, I'm also glad that it's going to be an average of your lowest bills because people, they say that they're going to, when they do the averages, they're going to throw out the highest. Mm-hmm. Those that are not in sync with the other bills. And so that's going to help tremendously for people to stay within their budget and know what to expect basically every month. And that's very important to people, especially people who are on fixed incomes.
Right, and exactly. And the component that you're talking about is basically like, hey, if your remote read sensor is broken and we can't actually get out there to get a meter reading, let's stop sending you estimates or, based on who knows what, because people get the bills and it's like, well, what did they base this on? This is 4 times what I normally use. So what you're describing is sort of that part of the plan that they would look at the 3 months that you had the lowest usage over the last year and take that average, and that would be what your bill is?
That's what my understanding is. Of course, I know this is all going to have to be tweaked, but the bottom line is relief is on the way. Mm-hmm. And it's so very important. Someone approached me last night and told me that they had a $2,000 bill. And I'm like, oh my God. And we almost also have to ensure customers who are challenged that their water won't be turned off. Right. Because that is the biggest fear that people have, that one day they'll go and they'll try to cut the faucet on and there's no water. So along with that plan has to be some method of letting people know that your water will not be turned off as long as you're working with the city and the water department to try to get it fixed. so
Right.
that you don't have to face these tremendous bills.
Right. And I know both of you have dealt with, talked to constituents longer with some of these issues because they've served on council longer. The new mayor has only been in office for 2 months. Oh, good, you're back. I thought we lost you. So tell me what, it took a little while to wrap your head around these remote read sensors, that so many of them are broken. So the mayor says that, you know what, we're going to take the 100,000 that are currently not working at all and put it on this timeline to quickly get those replaced, like within 9 months. We know more are failing every day. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, that's great, but they're also going to do some actual readings. That's going to make a big difference too, because if you're looking at a broken meter, you certainly cannot, meter reading, you certainly cannot give an average. So it's going to be some actual readings also, according to what I was told.
Absolutely. And then Letitia Plummer, the last thing that I was going to say is come April 1st, and I did ask the mayor about this, we are in for another water rate increase. So on April 1st, I was explaining, okay, so there's 2 water rate increases every year on April 1st. What are we going to do about that? And he was like, well, there's nothing we can do about the one that we needed to put into effect to make all these infrastructure changes. But are you concerned about what this next one's going to look like?
And now I'm hopeful that it's going to be okay. I think that, we've got to be fair. We understand what's happening with constituents, with their resources and their finances right now. So I believe it's going to be fair. I think the biggest part of this conversation is that people that have been billed incorrectly, we're going to make it right. This administration is adamant about being transparent and making sure that the people in the city of Houston don't feel like their walls are, their backs are against a wall. So I really feel hopeful. I feel hopeful that we're going to come out of this and be successful.
Absolutely. I've got 1 minute left, and I just want to say the mayor did talk a lot about accountability, and I know that he's said that in council before. And I said, how can we trust the director of public works to make all these changes and get it right when for like the last 2 years, she's basically downplayed the problems. She reported to you all that 99.2% of all water bills every month were accurate. Your thoughts on that?
Well, actually, we have to know that our constituents are well aware of what they used previously, and they were the ones that were not going to let it go, that everything was okay. And so as the voices of the constituents, we had to stand to make sure that things happen to help them to be able to navigate this process. And so it is supposed to be actually in effect, I believe, April 1st, and we're not going to be April Fools. We're going to make sure that this is done, and so that the people in the city can get the relief that they need and be able to move forward with this very, very important utility behind them and working to best benefit them and their households.
Absolutely. Letitia, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to one final question. We were kind of on the front line in terms of putting in these sensors, and these sensors had a lifespan, and of course COVID happened. So there are a lot of other things that happened kind of in the background that really put us in this bind that we're in right now. I think the important thing right now is that we're getting the sensors in. We're going to make the replacements that we need. We're going to make the adjustments on the water bills. We're going to have customer service that's right in front of you that you can have one-on-one conversations with. And this administration is all about transparency and ensuring that the city of Houston, we don't have the water bill issues that we're seeing right now. So I feel very optimistic about moving forward, and I'm looking forward to support the administration and our constituents in the city to make them happier, especially as summer is coming.
Yeah.
We need our water.
Absolutely. Dr. Carolyn Evans-Shabazz of District D and Letitia Plummer, thank you both so much for joining us. I'll see you at City Council at 9 a.m. here in about 2 hours.
Okay. Thank you.